What is up, residents of Lumberjillville? I am going live, kind of impromptu. I just got off work, and I just wanted to cover some of the women's wrestling figure reveals that were shown today at Ringside Fest. There's a lot to unpack, some good, some bad, some in between. I have pretty strong feelings in a lot of different directions, as hard as that is to explain. Now, real quick, I'm just going to make sure that this is live here. Okay. I'll give a couple, give you a couple minutes to join on in before we go over the images. But let me know what your favorite reveals were that were shown today. Now, obviously, I'll be showing you images of all the women's figures. I've recently been under the weather, so that's why I sound a little weird, okay? But just know that I am going to be on it. All right. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How's it going? I know this is kind of impromptu, but like I said, usually I always like to go over the reveals with y'all, and especially the women's reveals. Now, last year's Ringside Fest, I think I went over every single figure image, even the men's figures, but being sick, the Timeless Tony Storm figure is delayed, but it should be here tomorrow, so that review should be up Saturday. So I really wanted to show these images, talk about them with all y'all, and kind of get your feedback, see what you think. So there are a couple things that I'm going to say before we get started. The first thing, to be positive, we saw a lot of cool women's wrestling figures, a lot of surprises, and there wasn't a huge scale of reveals today, men's or women's. It was a nice little selection, but there were a lot of women's reveals, and that's what we want to see. And that makes me happy. Also, I'm happy that it appears Rhea Ripley is finally the answer to what I've wanted Mattel to do, and that's find a female talent and include them in a lot of lines. Time after time after time. I think they dropped the ball not doing that with Sasha. I think they could have done it with Bayley for a period of time, even Liv, and they just haven't. Some of these popular women superstars will go years without getting a figure, and it's bizarre, to be honest with you. So hopefully we start seeing an uptick in Rhea Ripley's, an uptick in Liv Morgan's, and we start seeing them on shelves constantly. Now, the one negative thing I am going to say as we go into this, some of these images that were shown today of these women's wrestling figures, I mean, I have to question, and I don't mean this in a snarky way, I'm serious, like, whoever is the lead designer of the women's wrestling figures or however that works, like, are they even familiar with the talent? Are they familiar with the talent's physique and stature and overall look? Because some of the part choices, it's head scratching. It's like, did they only go off of promo photos or something to that degree? We'll get to that. But either way, Mattel, give me a call. I would love to help you decide part choices and the tires and even superstars that you should release as far as women go in the Mattel WWE line. So let's get started. No one wants to see me. Hopefully everyone can hear me. All right. But let's get started. Let's get me out of here. There's the little Mayor Aaron. I'm down here. Ringside Fest 2024. Now, I put this slideshow, whatever you want to call it, I put it together while I was at work. So if there's an error or something, it's going to be embarrassing, but we're going to figure it out together. So let's go through. Right away, we have this Liv Morgan Elite. Now, I missed when it was first shown because, like I said, I was at work. And the first comment that I saw that people were jumping all over is, it looks like BFAB. Y'all, this looks nothing like BFAB. Now, this is a digital render, and I do think it looks a little funky, and I think what it is the head shape. Now, this is by no means a final product, a final render, anything to that degree, and I think where it looks a little bit weird is that face scan. It doesn't seem to fit on the head sculpt itself very well. Now, obviously, I'm going to wait until we have it in hand because they've done a really good job with Liv Morgan's figures. I want to say that every one of Liv Morgan's figures, except for that Elite, the Money in the Bank Elite, that was not very good in my opinion. But for the most part, most of her figures have been absolute home runs, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can open this comment section. There we go. We got the comment section. So I think it looks good. And this is what I was... As time goes on and she's getting more and more popular on TV with this feud with Rhea, I'm like, why do we not have this yet? I know it takes time, but they're quick to get out freaking Ethan Page, for goodness sakes, or Tongaloa. But why are we waiting for this Liv? And here it is. We finally have the Liv. Now, It did look goofy at first, but zoomed in, a little goofy. I agree with Gold Beast's comment there. It does look a little goofy, but I do honestly think it's the render itself. I really do hope that when this figure comes out, it looks great, and I think it will. I think the face scan will look fine. I think it'll look great if it's put on the sculpt properly. I just think something here in the digital graphics renderings just they didn't really take their time with it, I think, and that's why. But I think it looks great. I think it looks amazing. I'm so excited. And like I said, I'm going to wait to make a final judgment on the face until we have it in hand, or at least until we see images of the final product and what it's going to look like, because this is a well-deserved Liv Morgan figure, which, by the way, how come, side tangent, and then we'll keep going, how come in the greatest hits are from the vault line, we haven't gotten that Elite Series 69 Liv Morgan? We've gotten, they announced like a Boogeyman today. Is anyone really wanting that Boogeyman? We just had an Elite Boogeyman, for goodness sakes. They're releasing all these figures that are just like boring in the vault, in the vault line, and whatever, and we haven't gotten Elite 69 Liv Morgan, and that's the Target exclusive collector's edition Liv Morgan. That's pretty expensive on eBay. Like, why have we not gotten in that line? I don't understand that. I wish they would. But anyway, that's a side note. We'll get to that later. Moving on. Okay, y'all. I am a big Kiana James. I'm looking up at my Panini WWE cards, and I have a pretty good collection of Kiana James cards. I think she's an up-and-coming star. Who is this? This is not Kiana James whatsoever. This is this is the most generic face sculpt in scan I feel like they could have used that really doesn't look like Kiana whatsoever. I was really thinking that this was going to get more criticisms than the Liv, but the Liv, everyone was saying looked like BFAB, and this one, people were like, perfect face scan sculpt. Y'all do a side-by-side. This looks nothing like Kiana James. I really don't think it does. And on top of that, Kiana James is known for her muscular physique, and this figure does an okay job of representing that, but they really do need to introduce new body sculpts, new body molds that are in the main event lines. They do that with the men. I mean, they do that with Solo. Even the upcoming figure of Jake the Snake, he has like a unique body sculpt. So like, why can they not give us like a more chiseled, a more muscular torso for these women's main event figures? So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this Kiana James. Now, maybe I'm a little salty because the Chase version, I wasn't able to pre-order it. This is the regular version from what I saw, and this one you can't even pre-order anymore. I was able to get this one, and I love Kiana. I'm really excited to add it to my collection, but I'm just gonna wait till I have it in hand. This might be a Tegan Knox situation where that Tegan Knox basic figure, when they showed images, I thought that's generic. That looks nothing like Tegan. And then when I had it in hand, I was like, okay, it's not as bad in hand. So I'm gonna wait, to get this in hand. I really do like the attire. I think it looks intricate, but also, why are we not seeing superstars like Kiana James, like Lyra Valkyria that we'll get to next? Why are they in the Elite 9? They would make amazing elites with all the extra accessories. Kiana could have glasses, a soft goods removable skirt, a clipboard or something. Lyra can have her wings, her entrance gear. Like, these could be really knocked out of the park elites. I don't know why they're just throwing them in a main event line. That seems like a big miss. And I say that because they are making NXT superstars like Channing Stacks Lorenzo and Tony D. Did they really need to get elites before someone like Kiana James? I don't think so, in my opinion, but I'll wait to see this in hand, but I was a little disappointed by this. Here's just alternate angles and an alternate pose on the right there of what the figure looks like. At least the legs aren't the real skinny Ichabod Crane legs. It does have a little bit of a muscular presence for a main event figure, and that's great. But yeah, and it's nice to see that those knee pads look to be that real stretchy, rubbery material that I do much prefer used on knee pads that we've seen on a few women's main event figures lately. Moving on, this looks like JC Jane attire. And not that it looks like JC Jane's face, but if you put this image on the left here, if you put this on a message board and said, all right, what women's wrestler is this, everybody? Ain't nobody going to say Kiana James. That's my personal opinion. And like I said, I'm a big fan of Kiana James. I really am a big fan of her work and think she's such a star in the future of the business, quite honestly. And I mean, it's the same face as the previous figure we just looked at. It's just different attire, but this one even looks more like not Kiana James. It looks like a cool wrestling figure, and it's not hideous. It's not like a disaster face scanned and sculpt, but it doesn't really speak to me that this is Kiana, in my opinion. And I'm let down by this because I am a Kiana fan, and I was excited when she was announced in the main event line, but this ain't it. This ain't it. All right, so let's talk about Lola Vice. This is the reveal that got me up out of my seat, and I was so excited because I am such a big fan of Lola Vice. I think she is very talented, very intriguing with her skill set, her previous history in mixed martial arts. I just think she's a star, quite honestly. She is a star. And to get an elite, I was so stoked. So stoked. Just like when they announced the Roxy and announced the Cora, when they showed this, I lost it. Now, once that sentiment went to the side here, I was disappointed. I was disappointed because, my comment when I first started this video was, whoever designs these women's figures, do they even have a familiarity of the superstars themselves and their statures and their builds and their physiques? Or do they just see a couple promo shots and they're like, oh, okay, that looks good? Because this is not Lola Vice's physique. It's just not. And I can say that because this is an elite, and elites can have uniquely sculpted torsos. I mean, how long did it take to get this muscular midsection torso that we got on the Zoe Stark? Amazing figure. Love this figure. But like, Lola deserves to have a strong muscular physique, but it's almost like they just went with the basic shorter stature, a superstar body sculpt, kind of like the Roxy Perez is more reminiscent of like a Sasha Banks. And that's just not Lola. Lola's very strong, very physical, and it doesn't really portray that. And that's disappointing. And it would have more of a pass if they didn't go out of their way to fix Solo Sikoa's sculpt on his torso. Remember, his first elite that came out was way too skinny, and they fixed it like 2 series later. There's no way if they release this that they're going to release a Lola 2 or 3 series later and correct the torso like they gave the treatment to Solo. And that ticks me off. It ticks me off because if they do it right the first time, they wouldn't have to do that. And us women's wrestling figure collectors don't get that extra effort that the men's figures get in correcting scales and sculpts and everything else. It's kind of like, oh, well, here's your Lola figure. Have fun with it. And then we won't get another Lola for 5 years. But either way, negatives aside, I am really excited that Lola's getting a figure and it's elite. And we have the alternate heads. I think that is so cool. We kind of have the hair braided back, the MMA sculpt, and then we have the long, beautiful flowing hair coming down. I'm most excited for this figure. Even with all my critiques, I am most excited by this figure 1000%. I cannot wait for this figure to pop up on Ringside soon enough. Now, in the comments, if you know, I'm not sure what Elite Series this is going to be introduced in, and that's something that at the end of the video, once I show the images, I'll go through Ringside Collectibles Instagram and we'll kind of get dates. But let me know what you think about this Lola, honestly. Yeah, so Rodney says the Katana Chance torso is bad. Absolutely. That was another time where I'm like, okay, who designs these women's figures? Do they have any idea who these female superstars are, or do they just get a couple images of them wrestling and they're like, oh, okay, this looks good, that looks good, this will work? Because it doesn't seem like these are logical choices for torsos in different body parts. I don't understand. Moving on, here's the Rhea Ripley Ultimate. Gripes out of the way. It does suck to get the Rhea Ripley Ultimate. We have to get this authentic full-scale ring. I'm kind of excited for it because I don't have an authentic full-scale WWE ring, so this will open up a door for figure photography for Lumberjillville, and I'm excited for that alone. But I'm more so excited for the Elite, and this is nice here. This is nice. And this live commentary is just killing it. All right, so the box art is absolutely beautiful. It looks great. I think it looks awesome, but let's get to the figure images here. Here's 2 different images. Looks awesome. I mean, it really does. I know the images when they first showed it, they looked weird. Rhea looked weird in those images, and I honestly think it was because her like little belt thing or whatever wasn't put on her properly, and it made the legs look super weird. But this Rhea looks great. it looks excellent. And the fact that it's an Ultimate Edition figure is great. Now, I can't see. It looks like. Sorry, I'm trying to see if she's going to have butterfly joints because we only got butterfly joints with the Asuka Ultimate Edition, and that'd be a nice little touch. So, yeah, obviously we have that new championship too. That's exciting. All right, so Lyra Valkyria. Now, when they showed this figure, and I'm going to be honest, and they showed that it also has a chase, I was like, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang it, because you know that the chase is going to go out of stock within the first couple minutes on Ringside, and I check Ringside multiple times a day. It's my job being the mayor of Lumberjillville to try to scoop up these women's figures so I can review them for y'all. And I missed out on the Kiana chase, and I have a bad feeling, y'all. I'm going to miss out on the Lyra chase. Whichever one is the Lyra chase, I'm not sure. But I have a bad feeling I'm going to miss out on it because I think Mattel in general is short packing the women's main event figures. Maybe there's one woman for every 2 or 3 cases, it feels like. And that's why they go out of stock so soon. But they need to increase the product here because a figure like this, a rookie figure for a superstar with a very bright future in the business, they should make enough that us fans should get them if we're able to. It's kind of wrong that the pre-order sell out so quick. They got to change things around. We need to do something to make that happen. But yeah, so it's really hard to tell. These images aren't going to be as clear. They're kind of just shown. And I looked on Ringside to see if they put like more professional images of these figures that I'm showing you in the next few slides. And I didn't see any professional photos put of these, but this is just kind of a glimpse that Steve Ozer was giving. And yeah, I think the likeness looks okay. I think the body sculpt works just fine and the attire looks okay. But once again, just like the Kiana, this would have been a super unique toyetic elite. And it pains me that Kiana and Lyra were both just put in the main event line when they're 2 figures that really could have benefited by being put in the elite line just with all the extra accessories and gear and entrance attire and detail you could put into the figure that would really make them stand out on the toy shelves and make them marketable to where people that might not be familiar with them go, wow, look at that Lyra Elite. It's got wings. It's got straight up Raven wings. I want to get that. Or wow, look at this Kiana. It's got a soft good skirt and it's got glasses and a clipboard. Wow, that's kind of a cool figure. I'm going to pick it up. But if someone's unfamiliar with them and they just see the main event figure, they're not likely to pick them up, in my opinion. So yeah, it's good that we're getting these new faces in the main event line. Okay, I'm not trying to sound greedy there, but I think they definitely deserve elites, in my opinion. All right, so here's a Charlotte from an upcoming line. Now, it looks fine. It looks just fine. It's from a specialty wave. I don't know. It might be a SummerSlam wave. Like I said, I'll double check at the end of this video while I'm still live streaming. And Rodney asked, does Kiana come with her purse? No. That would have been a nice accessory, though. Good point. If it was an elite, her glasses, purse, soft goods skirt, knock it out of the park. But the main event figure, it's just whoever that is that's cosplaying as Kiana is what we're getting. And yeah, this Charlotte looks great. And Charlotte's had some good figures, but she is someone that's really not gotten the love she deserves by Mattel. We've only gotten 2 Charlottes in robes, and one of them is an Ultimate Edition. So, like, that's kind of her thing. Kind of her thing, have an entrance robe. So we'll see what this figure comes with, but it wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't come with a robe. I'm not sure what she wore the entrance of this attire when she wore this attire, like if she had a robe on the entrance, but obviously when I do my research, I'll find out, but hopefully we get a robe. Here's a good question. Do you think there's going to be an Alexa Bliss toy? I think Alexa Bliss needs to return. I think there's a lot of looks they could have done, and we got that really good Ultimate Edition, a couple really good elites for the dark Alexa Bliss, Alexa's Playground, Alexa Bliss, but they could have done more, and I wish we would have got more. You know, Alexa is one of the 4 pillars of Lumberjillville, 4 of the popular women's figure reviews that really helped this channel get off the ground. We got Sasha, Alexa, Liv, and I think Rhea has become the 4th pillar. But anyway, yeah, this Charlotte looks pretty good, but it's kind of blurry, kind of tell, and this guy in the background is kind of creeping me out. I'm just going to be honest with you. Look at this guy. I actually tried to crop this image, and when I did, it kept the Charlotte image and then this guy's eyeball, and I was like, yep, nope, not cropping it. Here we got Jade. Now, once again, it's Bill McKenna just holding it up, but the Jade looks cool. Now, it's really hard to tell the overall scale of it. And as I mentioned before, I truly think that Mattel and Jazzwares, they don't go off a scale. They choose parts and they make the figure. It seems all random with all the size and height discrepancies that are completely inaccurate, even to things like the new IRS Legends figure being way undersized compared to the old one, the Dudley Boys fiasco that's come out. They don't have a proper scale that takes a athlete's real size, their real height, and translate it into their figure line, if that makes sense. They need to go back to the drawing board. And I'm worried that this Jade, when it comes out, it's either going to be way too tiny because it does look a little narrow, and Jade is jacked, but it will kind of be sad if she's all jacked up and then we still haven't gotten a Bianca that's jacked, right? That's strong and muscular and has a great physique. So I'm excited for this Jade. I really am, but I'm holding my breath a little bit. Okay, that's a good point. Rodney Garcia makes a good point, says the hands look alien type long. You're not wrong. I mean, look at that top picture up there. That is a little creepy, but I am glad we're getting a Jade, relatively fast, and I'm real excited to see the final product because I am a fan of Jade Cargill, and it's surreal. Anyone that's followed her career, she was the only reason why I watched AEW Rampage for the longest time, and I loved it because I loved following her career and watching her grow each week. And to have her in WWE and to have a Mattel figure in front of us, it's kind of surreal. It's kind of weird to think because I would have never guessed with her time in AEW that she'd be getting a Mattel figure in just a few years. So yeah, I'm excited to see this final product, but it's really hard to tell the overall physique and the detail up close to these images. Okay, now this was the big news that also made me jump out of my seat. This is Rhea Ripley from an upcoming Elite line. And y'all, what I love about this is we just got a Rhea Ripley Elite, right? We just got a Rhea Ripley main event figure. We have a Rhea Ripley Ultimate coming, and we have this Rhea Ripley Elite. That's what Mattel needs to do to get these wrestling figure collectors to care about the women, to go to the store and say, oh, does Rhea have a new figure out? Instead of making us wait a year or two in between releases. I think Liv Morgan is the most recent dropped ball where they release an Elite of Liv like every 1 to 2 years. And there's no excuse for that. They are primetime TV getting superstars that have a strong fan base and collecting base. And yeah, okay, I'm going on a tangent. I am so stoked that Rhea Ripley seemingly is the face of women's wrestling figures from the Mattel line. I have wanted this for so long, y'all. I thought they really could have done this with Sasha, and even though Sasha did have a lot of figures, she didn't get as many produced as she deserved, as often, I would say. Just think about all the Codys we've had in one calendar year. It's ridiculous. I wish they had a female that they could incorporate in multiple lines, every few Elite lines, every main event lines, ultimate lines. And it looks like Rhea is that answer. She is our women's wrestling figure savior. Thank you, Mattel. Thank you. Not just giving us future Mattel figures of Rhea, but look how cool this looks. Look how freaking cool this Rhea looks. It's unbelievable. I'm so excited for not just having another awesome looking Rhea, but for having Rhea represent the women's division in figure form and be a part of many active lines within one calendar year. Hats off. Okay, now this Naomi blew me away. I actually forgot about this Naomi because it was a pretty brief reveal of this Naomi. But this blew me away because one of my favorite, if not my favorite figure review in Lumberjillville was the Elite 78, I want to say, Naomi figure. The Chase and the Regular. I had an absolute blast. I was relatively early in Lumberjillville. I was still kind of getting my footing how I was going to do it, and I had so much fun doing the glow in the dark test, reviewing the figures, and me being colorblind, seeing like the neon colors. I was smiling that whole review. I absolutely adored that figure. And this figure, it appears like it might glow in the dark. Y'all, I am going to pre-order so many of these things. So many of these. Because I do love Naomi. I think she's great. But her figures are underrated. I mean, honestly. Like that Elite 78. I don't know. I'm going on a tangent because I absolutely love the prospect of a glow-in-the-dark figure that matches her attire, her gimmick. And look at this entrance robe, y'all. I cannot wait to get this figure, review it, turn on the old LJV blacklight. also do the pitch black test where I shine it with my mag light, turn off the lights, and to see if this thing really glows. And I bet you it does. And I'm super, super stoked for it, y'all. All right. Queen Nia Jax. Well deserved. Now, I will say Nia Jax is one of the few superstars that every single one of her wrestling figures ever released has been an absolute banger. Every single one of her basic figures, every single one of her elites has been an amazing work of art, in my opinion. Now, truth being told, early in the channel when I was reviewing Nia's figures, I was not a big fan of Nia. You know, I'm a big fan of the women's division, and I just felt like she wasn't exactly up to par with the talent that was in the rest of the women's division. She got released, she came back, and y'all, I couldn't be more of a Nia Jax fan. I think what she's done to improve herself in the ring, on the mic, I admire that woman so freaking much. And the contrast in my fandom for her just shows how hard she worked to get to where she is. I mean, not that my fandom matters. I don't mean it like that. I just mean it like I never thought there'd be a day where I'm excited for an upcoming Nia Jax figure. And here I am, Queen Nia Jax, beautiful. And I have no doubt that this figure is going to be a 10 out of 10 figure because they've done such a good job with her figures in the past. And the fact that this one is going to be unique, it's going to have the crown, and it's going to be the returning Nia figure. I'm super stoked for it. So not exactly clear, detailed images of what the final product's going to look like, but at least we know it's coming. And I think that is really, really cool. And then we have that Charlotte. So like I said, and then we have, this is my favorite reveal. Okay. It's a John Cena figure. That joke is so overplayed. So yeah. So let's go back down the slide. So we have Queen Nia Jax here. Okay. We got Naomi upcoming elite. Oh, I'm so excited for this. It looks like it's going to glow in the dark, and I am so excited for figure photography with this figure, if that's the case. Rhea Ripley, changing the game for us women's wrestling figure collectors right here. Being released in multiple elite lines within a calendar year, and also an ultimate edition, also main event figures. Like, I am so happy for the future of women's wrestling figures, and it's thanks to Rhea Ripley because she should be popping up a lot. And I have no doubt that she's going to sell. She's going to fly off the shelves, and rightfully, deservingly so. This figure looks beautiful. Jade Cargill, we will wait and see the final product. It's really hard to tell, just in these images alone of him holding it up, exactly how jacked, how cut, how muscular the physique is. That's definitely something that this figure needs. I think they've dodged a bullet very narrowly with Bianca's figures to where they just get by not giving her rightfully muscular physique. Like her Ultimate Edition won Lumberjill Figure of the Year. Y'all voted it. I have it right here. Y'all voted this, and it's an amazing figure. I love it. Y'all voted this the Lumberjill Figure of the Year for 2023, and it doesn't even have an accurate torso, right? So definitely hoping this Jade, they get it right the first time. And yeah, that'll be a fun video. I need to do a battle of the sculpts. I haven't done one of those in a while. I think the last one was Ruby Soho's AEW figure compared to Ruby Riot's Mattel figure as to which one's better. I need to do that with Paige and Saraya. I always say it wrong, so I'm so sorry if I offend anybody. Saraya or Saraya. You know, I need to do that. And then when this Jade comes out, I got to do a battle of the sculpts, Jazzwares versus AEW edition. Because as much as I critique Jazzwares, it's purely because the product doesn't come out fast enough and they made some questionable decisions. But their women's wrestling figures are pretty fantastic and have a lot of character to them. I really absolutely love Jazzwares women's wrestling figures. The hands creep Rodney. The hands won't hurt you. Do not look too close at the hands, especially that top image. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. The hands can't hurt you. Or they kind of look like they can, to be honest. But yeah, I'm with you on that. All right. Still going back here. We got that Charlotte that I put in the slideshow twice with this guy's eyeball. The eyeball is not included. Charlotte looks fine. I'm just waiting to see the accessories. Hope we get an entrance robe because she hasn't had enough figures with robes. I mean, I think we've had more Dragunovs with robes than we've had Charlottes with robes. And that's comical to me. We got Lyra. Looks like a fine main event figure. Actually, looks like a dang good main event figure. I will say that. I just am very frustrated that it's not released in the Elite line because they really could have done a lot to make this figure very toyetic with her entrance wings and tons of her different attires, even little makeup that she's had on her face in different designs. They could have done a great job. So I'll wait to see this in hand. And I am also frustrated that I know when this pre-order goes up, the Chase version, which I'm guessing is the one on the right in the black boots, yeah, the Chase version is probably going to go out of sale within minutes. So that is a little sad, a little frustrating, but I hope for the best and good luck to everyone that's waiting for that to come out to pre-order it because it's going to be tough. Then we got Rhea Ripley's Ultimate Edition figures. Now, these aren't the Ultimate Edition figure. It's not the best images here, but just wanted to show you a few. Obviously, I pre-ordered this. I'll be reviewing when it comes out. Next, we have Lola Vice here one more time. And like I said, this is the figure I was most excited to see. My jaw dropped. I jumped in joy. I was stoked. Big supporter, big fan of Lola. I think she brings something really cool to the women's division. She's a BA. She's great. However, I am disappointed with the part choices. Not a lot of thought or planning or care went into the part choices. So that's disappointing. Maybe things will change from the time that we see this to the final release. It's not completely terrible, it's not completely terrible in my opinion, but I think it could be better is what I should say. I think it could definitely be better, but I'm most excited for this figure. I freaking cannot wait for a Lola Vice Elite. And then we have this. This is supposed to be Kiana James. Listen, I won't get into it. I'm a huge Kiana James fan, big collector of her cards and just a supporter of her. She's the future of the women's division, one of the many future pillars of the women's division. And yeah, this figure just doesn't do her justice, especially this attire. This looks like no attire, and I know she's worn it, but this looks like no attire Kiana's ever worn. Now, this attire does look like Kiana's attire. Like, you could tell if you remove the head and you look at it from the shoulders down, like, wait, is that Kiana James? You might be able to guess that, but then you show the face and you're like, oh, never mind. I thought it was Kiana James for a second. Yeah, okay. So Kai says Kiana looks like a little girl. Yeah, maybe, honestly. Like it to me, it looks more like a generic, not a terrible sculpt, not like Trish Stratus Elite 88. 88? Trish Stratus Elite 88? I'm probably wrong on that. Not as bad as that, but it's just generic. It's like if you tried to create Kiana James in a 2K game that she's not in, like it'd probably look like this. Like, okay, I think that's Kiana, but you can tell it doesn't have her likeness rights, right? It just doesn't look like her, and that's disappointing. So maybe something will change, but I doubt it. Yeah. And then we have Liv. Now, the most controversial figure shown. The first woman that was shown, the first reveal. Now, this is a long time coming. I'm hoping we get multiple Livs just like Rhea. I really hope that we see a lot of Livs and Rhea this year because this is the year of Liv and Rhea as far as their storyline. And I think that would be a great time to capture the love of the storyline and the feud by releasing a bunch of figures. We saw a bunch of upcoming Rheas. Let's see a bunch of upcoming Livs. And as I mentioned, I did zoom in on the face here. It is a little blurry, but I honestly think that the render that they made, the scan and the sculpt, something didn't match up. They didn't exactly put it on correctly or accurately or scaled right. And I think that's why it looks a little off. People in the comments are saying it looks like BFAB. It looks nothing like BFAB. I know BFAB looks nothing like her. But I'm super stoked for this figure. I mean, super, super stoked to see the final product. And then we got the title screen. So, I'm here. Oh, okay. So before we get to the figures, I got a really exciting package. And it's a mystery. Oh, let's not show my address. Oh, it's a mystery WWE Under Wrap shirt. Now, I know what it is. Do y'all want to see this or do you want to talk about the figures first? Because I would love to open this on camera. And like I said, I know what it is, but y'all don't. And it might be kind of fun. So this is a mystery Under Wraps WWE signed walkout shirt. And we'll get to the figure questions. Okay, Alec wants to see it, and I actually want to make sure they didn't send me something different. So I'm going to open it up. Okay, we're going to open it up. And then riveting audio. Well, I guess we got video. Hold on, let me make me big on the screen. There I am. All right, so we're going to open this up. And yeah, I'm actually super excited if this is what I think it is. Y'all. So, okay. Let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of peanuts. Okay, you know what? I'll clean up the peanuts later. Okay. Here we have Fanatics, Under Wraps, Authentic Walkout. It feels light. I hope it's in there. I hope no one snaked me. Did one of y'all get my address? Okay, so I guess there's like a little card that says what it is. It does. Awesome. So it's an officially licensed walkout t-shirt. Now this is going straight up in a frame. All right. Let me do the reveal like they did when I got it. Okay, it's a size large. I think I actually got a couple. Okay, you ready? Calculated and vicious. Zoe Stark. I am so going, as you can see over my left shoulder, there's an open frame. So, yeah, we got this signed Zoe Stark calculated and vicious shirt. And yeah, I absolutely love it. Now I need to make sure I put it away because I have cats and they're going to get their little hair everywhere. But that was a good experience. Now let's talk about these figures. Let's talk about these figures while we're here live. I got y'all in here. We had a pretty good showing. This was a completely spur of the moment. I mean, I knew I was going to do it, but I didn't post any announcement about it or anything like that. But yeah, let's talk about the figures. What do y'all want to see a different one again? Or what are y'all's opinions? What are you excited for? Oh, the cats? The cats are probably hiding because they see me just talking into a computer and don't really understand why. Okay, so yeah, this favorite WWE women's release, the Naomi looks so detailed. You know what? I can't argue that. And like I said, it wasn't a Comic-Con level reveal. Ringside Fest is kind of a smaller selection, but it was a great selection, y'all. And I felt really, really content with the amount of women's figures shown. You know, I always want more. I always want to see more. But compared to what we've seen in the past and the disappointment us women's wrestling figure collectors have endured, I think this was a W. I think today was an absolute W, in my opinion. And even though there are critiques here and there, I think overall, I think this is a W for us, everybody. And I'm pretty happy. All right. So they signed a bunch of Legends deals with some really interesting women that I would love to see in elite form. Now, Jacqueline, she has had one figure, and it was, I'm so bad at folding, y'all. And she's had one figure, okay? One figure. And it was a Jax one, not very good. I have wanted a Jacqueline elite for a long time. And that would be a dream come true, honestly. And yeah, Victoria just signed an upcoming Legend, so that'd be cool. Victoria had a pretty good amount of Jax, I think Ruthless Aggression style figures that were okay, but she's well overdue for an elite. Absolutely. Oh, Victoria, like all her different gimmicks that she had, she could have some pretty amazing elites. But Jacqueline is the one that I would just love it. Okay, let's see here. You answered my question about if Nia's second run changed your opinion on her. I know you weren't a fan of her before. Hey, absolutely, because that's what it's all about. It's all about working hard. And a lot of the superstars that I end up loving more and supporting more are ones that I wasn't a fan of at first. And Nia, I was not a fan of. And I've been watching the women's division for quite some time. And she's completely turned it around. She's looked great. She's done a wonderful job. And I can't stress enough how hard that has to be with the amount of haters out there, you know, because there are a large amount of women's wrestling fans that just watch it for the visual appeal or the visual stimulation. They're not out there supporting these strong, wonderful, amazing women for their beauty in and out of the ring, inside and out. And I think Nia gets a lot of hate. And not I never hated Nia, but I was not a fan before. But I completely flipped the script. She's amazing. I cannot say enough good about Nia now. She's just amazing superstar. Love her. Absolutely love her. Updated Dakota. Me too, buddy. Me too. Me too. You know, Dakota. Yeah, so this is something that was frustrating. And like I said, you know, whoever designs the women's figures, if it's a team, if it's if it's a team, shame on them for a bunch of people making some of these decisions that are questionable. Like we got Damage Control Bailey after we got Io and after we got Dakota, and that's stupid. And it took them so long to release the Damage Control Bailey that Damage Control wasn't even a thing anymore with Bailey. So I think they drug their feet and dropped the ball big time on Damage Control in general. I think they could have released a 3-pack. I can't think they could have released an Ultimate Edition Bailey. I think they could have released Dakota and Io in their crown jewel, you know, bodysuit tag team gear. I think they could have done a lot when Damage Control was really a hot thing. The 3-woman Damage Control. I think they could have done a lot more. I think they completely dropped the ball at that and missed a lot of opportunities. That was very stressful and frustrating to watch, you know, having no control over that. But yeah, I think they really dropped the ball there. So okay, that is actually a very good question that they didn't show the Kyrie, because the Kyrie should be coming out soon, and maybe that's why. Um, Anything that they showed today, I think the most recent that Rhea is in a few months. The Kiana I think is in a couple months. The Lyra's not up yet. Um, I think maybe they didn't show the Kyrie. Maybe it's going to be here sooner than we thought, y'all. Maybe it's going to be here sooner than we thought. How awesome would that be? Because that Kyrie, I still think the original Kyrie Elite, I think it's 73, is the best women's wrestling figure of all time. I mean, I think it's number one, honestly. And sorry, I was sick all weekend, so I'm sorry that I sound like this. I am not the most entertaining to listen to. See, whenever people talk about getting called up, it's kind of a trick question, right? Because it is technically a call up to be on the main roster and main television and really reach that main widespread WWE audience. But NXT is so fantastic on dividing the men and the women and their allotted times pretty equally. So many women in NXT get exposure, get work, get a lot of time. And that's time that they haven't really gotten on the main roster. And we've seen, you know, as of late, some NXT women get called up that have kind of disappeared, right? And it's for one reason or another, but I still think NXT is my favorite brand by far. And maybe it's because they do give such a good opportunity to the women to really grow and get the proper time and not just get, you know, shoveled into catering for a while and not have a storyline. So NXT is my favorite. You know, out of anything, when someone leaves NXT, it's like, oh, they're leaving NXT. However, more eyes will get on them. You know. Yeah, it's tough to say. It's tough to say because Kiana did recently miss time for things. And I never know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not a dirt sheet or anything like that, but we'll see. I still think that she has such an amazing, bright future, and I'm you know willing to give it time and see. You know, she's still young, and I hope they do something with her. I will say that. I really hope they do something with her because I think she's a tremendous talent. Yo, shout out to I would have worn my icon if I knew that there were so many iconics post in today's comment section. I would have honestly worn my iconic shirt. A shout out to the iconics, Billy and Peyton, man. I love them. And yeah, if they ever brought back more iconic figures, I'd be all over it. All over it. Yeah, more Charlotte Flair figs would be very cool, especially if they actually had robes. You know, that'd be kind of fun if they did like what Star Wars does with their holiday line every year, and it's just repaints. Like, give us a Rhea Ripley painted up in like Grinch inspired gear or something. You know what I mean? Like that's actually a very smart idea. Menacing Molly from Spirit Halloween 2. That is a very I want to say ingenious idea to have like that. Like they have the Royal Rumble line, they have the WrestleMania line, they have all these little sub lines. Why not have a holiday line? Even Halloween. How amazing would that be to get like a Shotzi painted up, or that was one of my cats. But a holiday line would be awesome. Yo, even if it was attire they never wore, they could decorate them like that. Okay, so a Sable Elite, honestly, is also one of my most wanted figures because even though, say what you want about her, and I have my thoughts and opinions, but I mean, she was part of women's wrestling history. She really was. So I think if she got an Elite, that would be a tremendous step forward for the history of women's wrestling figures. They did the Ninja Turtle line, so why not? Yeah, I think that'd be fun. They should do fun lines like that, you know? Obviously, the Ninja Turtle line kind of brings in Ninja Turtle fans, WWE fans. It's a license thing, even with the Ghostbuster stuff. But I think they might be afraid to do kind of off the brand lines like the Zombies and Monsters line, because I don't know. I love those figures. I thought they were tremendous, the effort that was put into them, but I don't know how popular they were or how much they sold. But in my opinion, I don't want Mattel to say, well, the reason we don't make this many women's figures is because of the sales numbers and blah, blah, blah. Because no one can tell me that those Legends figures at Target have sold the last 2 or 3 years. They can't be making any profit off of those figures. So that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, they need to take more risks and more chances in making these fun lines and seeing what sticks. But it's almost like they're afraid to do that because of the past. Layla and McCool, yeah, that was one of my favorite figure reviews. The Lay Cool figures; those are great early Mattel figures. Yeah, Bull Nakano inducted into the Hall of Fame, but we didn't get an Elite figure. So I feel like, and maybe I'm biased because, you know, Lumberjill, we're all about women's wrestling figures. That's what our foundation is built on, right? Raising the respect level and the love of women's wrestling figures in the collecting community because they just don't get that respect and love. But I wish so bad that they had someone on the inners of Mattel that had their finger on the pulse of the women's division. What's hot? What's popular? What would be a good look? What would be a figure that people are talking about that they might want in the future? You know, what would be good body part choices? What would be good facial expressions like? That would be my dream job. I just wish that they had, because I feel like they're missing that. They're absolutely missing that. Anyway, that was a side note. I think we need to do it. They're planning to make a Zarya, yeah. So I've always wanted a SummerSlam, a 2022 Bayley figure because I was at that SummerSlam and yeah, it was. I haven't been to a WWE live show since I went to that SummerSlam because having it start out with Io and Dakota coming back and Bayley returning, that can never be topped sentimentally. So I always have wanted that SummerSlam 2022 Bayley look. I would love that in figure form. Ultimate Edition. That's a superstar that we deserve to have an Ultimate Edition. Well, I think Liv and Bayley deserve it. And by now, they're making Ultimate Editions of everyone. They announced more Uso Ultimate Editions. And that's annoying because I get the Usos are popular, but we're getting an Uso overload. And it's annoying. It really is annoying. I almost can't wait till the Bloodline thing is in wrestling history past because I was into it too for a while. And it's like, all right, are these guys going to hog all the TV time and hog all the toy lineups? Because if so, let's move on to something else. You know what I mean? There we go, Rodney. I'm right there with you. An Ultimate Edition Bayley has been needed for some time now. I did hear a rumor from a really reliable source. They might have said it publicly. I don't know, that there was a Sasha Banks Ultimate Edition in the works when she left the company. So obviously we'll never see it in that. hurts my soul so freaking bad. You guys have no idea how much that hurts me. Yeah. So we'll stay on a few more minutes, y'all. I've been on here 49 minutes and I've had an absolute blast talking with y'all. So maybe a few more questions and I'm gonna end the stream, take some medicine, and hope that my Tony Storm comes tomorrow. So that Tony Storm review should be popping up here Saturday morning, right? So it's supposed to be here today, but it took a detour to like Virginia. I live in Tennessee and nowhere close to Virginia, so hopefully it'll be here tomorrow. And I have work and I get my little girl this weekend, so I'm sure she wants to help film a little bit, be my director. So hopefully I have that filmed and I'll have it to y'all Saturday, probably like noon Eastern time on Saturday. Hey, I honestly think Sasha, I think she would return to WWE because she probably sees that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I don't think AEW is really fully maximizing her abilities, right? But from what it sounds like, the money that she's gotten, guaranteed money and all that, I don't know. I'd love to see her back in WWE though. Yeah, I know the owner, creator, I think designer, Mitch from Hassel Toys. I personally know him. I went to his toy store that was actually in my hometown. He had an amazing toy shop. I actually got Series 1, Version 1 Brandy Rhodes AEW figure. I'll never sell that thing. I absolutely love it. I think it's the most rare AEW figure. But Mitch is an amazing individual. And I feel a little bad. I'm just going to say this. I feel a little bad because when I reviewed it live last Friday, the Sherry and the Queen Sherry, I was disappointed mostly because the cost and what I had in hand, but I might have been a little harsh, and I'm very honest in my reviews. But he's someone that I truly think is a good person, and I by no means meant to offend him. And I talked to him, and he even told me like I was the first one that really wasn't happy with him, that got him. And I'm glad to know that so many people that have gotten him have had good things to say about him because I was not too happy. But it's a whole different atmosphere, a whole different environment here in Lumberjillville. We focus on the women, whereas a lot of his men's figures are the best retro style men's figures out there. But yeah, just for the price point and what we got, how petite those things were, I just couldn't recommend them by faith. But yeah, I know Mitch and No Hassle Toys, and he's a wonderful human being, and I highly support you go support. I highly suggest you go support Hassle Toys if you're a retro men's figure collector, for sure. Rodney, I appreciate that. Rodney. Thank you so much. It's people like you and residents like y'all that make every year worth all the hours. A Melina figure, absolutely. Oh, that's great. Yeah, he is at the Hartville Flea Market now. I believe that's where he sets up shop. But yeah, I went to a store in Canton, and I can say that. I'm not like giving addresses, everybody. I went to a store in Canton, and that's my hometown, like where I'm originally from. So, but yeah, I had a great experience with him, and like I said, I felt terrible. I think I made some comments about the Sherrys, kind of comparing them to Happy Meal toys, and I didn't mean it in like a snarky or in a harsh way, but it's honestly what they reminded me of. And I was maybe a little too honest, to be honest with you, but I appreciate all the work he does and the hustle, that he's truly embracing with his toy line. I think that's amazing. Not everyone could do that. I couldn't make a toy line, so I think that's great. But yeah, I was maybe a little too honest. Listen, I'm not going to say any names, but I actually found the owner of that figure, and I was willing to buy it off of them. They're going to let me know if they ever decide to sell it, but I think they sent me pictures of it, and I think it popped up somewhere and they got it. And I think it's the one from the images, like the prototype. So I'm trying to get that Billie Kay so bad. I want that figure so bad. Lola, the figure reveal I'm most excited about is Lola. Do I think it's the best looking figure reveal? Absolutely not. I think the part choices are a head scratcher. We've talked about that. I think some questionable decisions, but the fact that we're getting an NXT superstar in elite form, much like Cora and much like Roxy. Oh boy. I don't know what my cats are doing, but I'm excited for the Lola. I mean, I'm excited for a lot of what we saw today, but Lola stands out to me mostly because I'm such a diehard NXT Women's Division fan. Oh, that I almost dropped the number score because it's so subjective. It really is. It is. But a lot of people seem to have wanted me to keep the number scale. So I will keep the number scale, but there are some figures I would go back and change my number scale for, honestly. But in the way I look at it, when I review that figure and I have it right in front of me, it's not like a multi-day take. I have it in front of me, I inspect it, I compare it, and then that score that I give is that score that I have at that moment. So sometimes I look back and I'm like, ooh, why did I give it that high of a score? But it is what it is. Dream never gonna happen figure. I would say Sable's never gonna happen because the whole Brock thing and Sable's lawsuit with WWE. I don't think we'll ever get a Sable. Now, she's not like a dream superstar for me, but I think a Sable Elite would be such a missing piece of women's wrestling history in figure form. I mean, imagine the Monday Night Wars line, a Sable Elite. That would have been unbelievable. And that would honestly, yeah, that'd be like a dream come true. But I don't think it'll ever happen. Bianca Belair and Alexa Bliss battle pack. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, the one thing about Alexa Bliss, she has not been on TV in a while. She's being a mom and a wife, and that is amazing. Um, but even though she's not on TV, I wish that we would still get Alexa figures. It sounds crazy, but I get in a lot of these card breaks, and Alexa is still a top name. She's one of the 4 pillars of Lumberjillville. People really care about Alexa Bliss and love Alexa. And I feel like even though she hasn't been on TV, why couldn't they give us a throwback Alexa figure? Or why couldn't they give us a Alexa figure and an attire she doesn't have? So yeah. I honestly could see this happening since they signed Legends deals. I could see that happening. So hopefully we do. Now, that being said, I could stay up and talk to y'all all night. This was fun. We had a good turnout for a spur of the moment thing. Hold on. We got one more question. Just curious how many Raquel action figures got bought this year, bro, because I'm still looking for a big Mama Cool. So Raquel's Elite came out, I want to say 2 or 3 Jilloweens ago, right? It came out a few years ago now. I think some of my Walmarts still might have it on shelves. So I'd say if you looked hard, if you went to maybe some different Walmarts, you might be able to find that Raquel. Now, with that being said, y'all, I'm going to go rest my voice, take some medicine, blow my nose, and get some rest. But stay tuned to the channel. That Timeless Tony Storm review should be popping up here Saturday morning. So I appreciate y'all coming. Thank you for the turnout. As always, thanks for stopping by Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. I hope y'all have a great night, and thanks for watching, y'all. Much love.